Hey guys, welcome back to Heiko Shaves. Today I have another somewhat vintage shave for you guys. The razor we're going to be using today is not really vintage, but definitely vintage inspired. It's a Merkur 45, which is a plastic razor. It is made out of Bakelite, which is the first plastic that came to the market. And you know, to increase the production value, I even wrote myself some notes today. So it was invented by Leo Hendrik Bakelite. He was born in 1863 in Belgium, but then he immigrated to the United States in 1889. And apparently in 1907, he invented Bakelite, or in German you would say Bakelite. So this is not a high-tech plastic. It is really the first industrially used plastic that was available since 1907. And then a lot of industries, a lot of product manufacturers, they were trying to incorporate Bakelite or Bakelite into their production runs of all kinds of things. And then suddenly from that moment forward, there were actually plastic products available. Before that, they had nothing of that sort. Everything was, you know, painstakingly made, cast, machined, milled, whatever. But then Bakelite came out, and this one here, the Merkur 45, came in the standard Merkur packaging here, nothing fancy. They used to come in a kind of presentation plastic case that some of the older Gillettes would come in, but unfortunately I only got the version that has the cardboard box. Also has one blade in it, which we're gonna leave in the box. I'm not gonna use it as a Merkur blade. I have other Merkur blades that we could use, and why don't we? So let's use this. This razor is from 2012, 13, 14. In that time frame is when they came out with this. So it's definitely not vintage, but vintage inspired due to the use of Bakelite. And then it's this interesting color combination, red and black, kind of a marble finish. And I've seen videos as early as 2013, people were reviewing those. Geo Fatboy made a video about this very razor. The threading here is actually a brass insert. So I guess they didn't want to make that out of plastic, but in the handle there is no brass, it's just screwing right into plastic. Geo Fatboy, he said this is some sort of high-tech plastic, but it really is the original plastic, the very first that came out in 1907. Then the next piece of equipment that we're going to be using here comes in this beautiful box. It's an ever-ready brush. And this is original packaging, and the listing on eBay said it was new old stock, never used. The box here actually has quite some writing on it. You can't beat a warm lather shave with an ever-ready. Bristle permanently set in flint hard base. After shaving, rinse, brush thoroughly and shake out moisture. American Safety Razor Company, division of Philip Morris Incorporated, New York, New York. And then the zip code, I guess, printed in the USA. Let's take it out now. So supposedly unused after, oh, and a piece of cardboard just fell out into the water. That was not good. So I like to, especially when it's like vintage stuff like this, I like to keep the boxes. So just a piece of the box is broken off. Here on this flap, there's actually a model number. It's a C40 E7. I have absolutely no idea what year this was made. But from what I just read, so American Safety Razor Company, there was a lot of iterations of this ever-ready company. So supposedly the company was founded in 1875, but under a different name, and then it went through a bunch of ownership changes, and then in 1905 it became ever-ready. And then in 1915 they started making brushes, and then it continued on to be sold off and merged and all kinds of things. But I think the name continued to exist all the way into the 80s. So not 100% sure. It's very slim information online. I spent quite some time on reading and whatnot. And this one here, an original box. It's the C40. Here's some writing on there. So C40, ever ready, made in USA, sterilized. So it was sterilized in the... So from reading that it's American Safety Razor Company, I think that was one of the last ownership mergers, or it was sold to American Safety Razor Company, or it became. Don't quote me on this, not an expert. Some people have tried to come up with lists of models of those brushes to figure out when they were made and who actually owned the company at the time. Division of Philip Morris. Yeah, if I find any kind of definitive answer in what kind of time frame this must have been due to American Safety Razor and Philip Morris, I'll annotate it here on the screen. So this is a C40, and yeah, you could say it looks fairly similar to my fine brush here, the 20mm fine. This is brand new. This is 1970s, maybe 1980s. Very similar. Of course, fine copied the design. Even though it said in the listing this is never used, what I will do in the other sink, I'm going to give this a good wash with a human shampoo. Yeah, not dog shampoo. And clean this out. And then we're going to pre-soak it. This is some sort of natural bristle. I would say maybe boar from the color. It could be badger, but I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see how this works out. So let me pause real quick. I'll give this a little knot wash, and then we're going to start with a shave. So vintage inspired and an actual vintage today. And then the rest is going to be just the Proraso lineup. So we're not going to put too many new products here on the market at once.
5 minutes later.
Alrighty guys, so I'm back. The ever ready boar brush, I would say, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is getting a soak down here. I already washed it with shampoo bar from Sterling Soap. And I'm in the process of preloading our Bakelite razor here. If you are interested in one of those Merkur 45, they are not being manufactured anymore. And Merkur doesn't really do a good job keeping records of their, discontinued razor models on their webpage. I searched around. I can still find listings of new ones. I bought this one from a webpage. What was it? Rubenovs.com, which is apparently a barber supply store here in the US. $45. So price-wise okay, but then they really ripped me off with shipping. $16 shipping for a box that size, and they even shipped it in an envelope. So it was not in a box. It came in a soft envelope, and that's why the cardboard box here is a little crushed. So yeah, not excited about that. $16. I mean, USPS, the priority shipping box that they give you for free, that in there would have been like $6 or $7. But anywho, so I just preloaded the Merkur 45 with a Wilkinson sword blade. As you can see, blade sticking out quite far. Looks to be pretty even. I mean, that's what you would expect from a Merkur. Blade overhang on the side, sticking out for sure. It's all plastic. Looks like nobody has ever used it, and that's what I would assume from a purchase from a barber supply store. The Ever Ready is soaking here in my water down in my sink to make it a little softer. Few bristles have already fallen off during the process of washing it with shampoo. So now we're pretty much ready to go. I already pre-soaked my face with pre-shave. Proraso pre-shave. Now I'm just gonna get it wet. Now we're gonna take our Ever Ready brush out of the water, get most of the water out of it, and we're gonna go right into my Proraso shave bowl here and get some soap loaded into the bristles. Yeah, lots of bristles are coming off, unfortunately. But I guess that's what you have to contend with if you use a 30, 40-year-old new old stock brush. All right, and I also have my little emesis basin with fresh water sitting here next to me. So let's start the lather. Oh yeah, this is pretty harsh. It's pretty stiff. I mean, it had a wash in warm water with shampoo and a soak here in my sink for at least 15-20 minutes. It's pretty harsh. Oh yeah, I can't detect any animal scent. Maybe it's because it has been sitting for so long in a box. But looks like it's turning out quite a nice lather. What do you guys think? I think that's all we need. All right, and let's get the razor wet and let's get started. The shave. Huh. Interesting. This feels like one of those hospital razors. Super lightweight. It's plastic. Something is tickling me here. Oh, there's a bristle of our brush right hanging in my face. Very lightweight. I think this razor is a relatively mild razor, but efficient enough to get a shave done. We have about a 2-day growth here, and it's pretty noisy, gives you a lot of feedback. Yeah, that works. I'm not complaining about anything. So this is kind of a strange feeling. It feels like a plastic razor from the drugstore, but it's a double-edged safety razor. Let's do a quick check here. Oh, it's taken off 80%. There's still a little bit here under my nose. Let's see if we can make this happen. The cutting edge is pretty close to the edge of the razor, so pretty good. Super windy outside today here in Western Nevada. Windy day. And today it's when Heiko switches to night shifts again. Lovely. All right, let's lather up again. So I'm gonna stop mentioning to you guys how many passes we're gonna do. We're gonna do as many passes as it will take to either get a smooth shave out of it, or my skin says stop. Then we stop there. But so far, this is a relatively lightweight and mild razor. With those lightweight ones, you just gotta remember not to press too hard, you know, put too much pressure onto the blade, because that's when, you know, that's when you hurt yourself, when you irritate your skin. But yeah, the Merkur 45, since it is already out of production, and it was sold in the 2012, 13 through 18, maybe through maybe 2020, out of production. I don't think they sold all that many. Most places are out of stock. There are only a few places left, a couple places in Australia that still ship them, and Rubenov's in the United States. So 45 plus 16, so $61, $62, something like that. It's quite pricey, but maybe this is a piece that's missing in your collection. All right, let's do a cross the grain. Yeah, it's a mild razor. It's kind of funny how this feels. This is so lightweight. Yeah, let's just weigh it real quick. Get all the ballast off the scales here. With a blade, not even 16 grams, so 15.57 grams. That's light. But it works. I feel like I can now smell the boar brush. Yeah, I guess it took a little while to, you know, soak in and develop the aroma. Uh-oh, I feel some irritation coming on. Maybe I pushed too hard. It's okay. We're okay, we're okay, we're surviving. Yeah, there's still some left here. Not the most efficient razor, I can say. Not the most. But we're gonna do another pass. Let's get a little bit more soap, shall we? Yeah, ooh. Ah, that must have been a stinky boar. The stinky boar is coming out. Huh? Do we have a bleeder down there? It's still stiff and kind of prickly feeling. It's like lathering with a cactus. And there's another one of the bristles going. But what's the worst that can happen is that this thing here, if I keep using it, it will probably develop a little bit more softness. It will spread out a little bit so the knot gets a little larger. Or not larger, but it will flare out a little bit from use. Most likely lose its stinkiness. But if it completely falls apart, we're just gonna cut it off, drill it out with a Forstner bit and put a new knot in it. And then we're gonna use whatever, you know, maybe I make myself another smaller version of my favorite badger here. DS Cosmetic Badger knot in this handle that I bought off of eBay. Maybe we're gonna do something like this with this almost brand new, now used once, ever ready handle. All right, so last pass for today, and we're gonna do an against the grain. Oh yeah, I'm bleeding down there a little bit. So you gotta watch the pressure. You feel like there is nothing in your hand, and you have to push a little harder, and that's when you know, catch the little things here. But overall, this is very acceptable as a razor that you could use daily. And then the cool thing is, it's plastic. This, besides the brass piece that's in here, there's not going to be any corrosion going on. You could use this daily, completely neglect, maybe take it apart once a month. Just to make sure the brass piece hasn't corroded away. Brass, by the way, is a alloy which is kind of a mix of different materials, and the main components are copper and zinc. In German, brass is called Messing, and you get a little bit of the zinc and Kupfer und Zink. Kupfer is copper and zinc is Zink in German. And brass is a mixture of copper and zinc plus a couple other things. Yeah, it's kind of bouncing over my stubbles. It's not really taking them off, it's just riding over them. So then you start pushing down and then you get a nick. But not bad, not bad. It's not a razor that I would use on a daily basis to get the quick in the morning shave done. That's when I usually reach for, you know, my Merkur 34. I mean, this is like the go-to mild razor. Or I have shaved with a 6S now on plate number 3 a few times in the morning, and that works out pretty well. And then of course it hasn't been beaten yet. The leaf twig sitting here with a blade, I just leave them open, rinse them out, leave them open. This is my go-to in the morning. Yeah. It's good. It's good. You just gotta not cut yourself with a twig because you're not paying attention to the blade. This here is kind of a novelty, and I think they just wanted to bring, you know, some vintage vibe back to their company. Look, the interesting kind of really extremely curved design. It shaves, it does a good job. It's just a little too light, little too flimsy feeling in my hand, but it really created a smooth shave. It really did. I'm not making this up now. Yeah, this is great. So like I said, I would not necessarily shave with this thing every morning, but you know, now I have a piece made out of plastic. This is going to be around in 10,000 years because it will never deteriorate or rot away, and it's pretty cool. Just don't leave it lying in the sun. Maybe the UV ray will break down the plastic. You know, so Bakelite, oldest plastic, oldest industrially used plastic, invented by Leo Hendrik Bakelite. So you can kind of see where the name came from. And a guy from Belgium. Yeah. And he was working at the time when it was invented in New York State. Here we go. All right, let's rinse off real quick. All right. So I think we got one little nick down here, a little bit of some irritation over here. You see a little bit of some blotchiness right there. But that was probably my own fault because I started to push a little too hard. All right, and here comes my favorite Proraso green. Back in the 30s, there were quite a few products, especially in the razor market, that were made out of Bakelite. There's a pretty famous open comb slant razor called the Fasan, or the Pheasant. Fasan was a German company. They made this razor in the 30s and 40s, so right through World War II. And I think they went under during or after World War II. They just didn't make it back on the market. And that one was then picked up by PAA, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, and they made their, what is it called, the Monster series with a El Fantasma and they have all those fantastic names. They're made out of plastic, out of glowing in the dark plastic, blue and red and all kinds of different colors and different fancy model names. I'll put a link to them here somewhere on the screen and down in the description so you can check out their interpretation of the old Bakelite Fasan razor. They also have a razor that's kind of a material combination where the comb is made out of Bakelite and the rest is made out of some sort of metal. So they like to pick up old designs and then put their own twist to it and then their own naming convention and then put them back on the market, and I really appreciate that. So, you know, not all those old designs are all going to get lost eventually because, you know, then you have those 3, 4, 5 big manufacturers that make razors, and the rest of all those old, good old faithful designs from back in the 30s, they're just going to be forgotten or only appreciated by collectors. PAA, they always bring new stuff. They had a Bakelite open comb, no, it was a Bakelite open comb slant razor that they originally came out with, and then they re-upped it and turned it into this Monster series. So El Fantasma and I don't even know what the other ones are called, but you guys can look that up. And yeah, so the Fasan was pretty famous back then, and I guess that's the reason why Merkur also brought out another Bakelite razor here like this one, the Merkur 45. If you want to add this to your collection, Be quick before they are all gone. And then once they're all gone and everyone is out of stock, then suddenly those things are going to go up in price. $45 was the cheapest I could find, plus $16 of shipping. So, you know, if you have a Merkur collection, here at the bottom, I just noticed it's actually saying something here. Made in Germany. Right here on the rim of the handle. Made in Germany. There are absolutely no other markings on here. I just looked around. There's nothing on the close comb down here, nothing really. Two little plastic pins that align the blade and the brass threaded piece in the middle. Nothing. Come on out of there. Yep, no markings. Made in Germany. Alrighty guys, that is it. Today, another vintage shave. Somewhat vintage, right? Plastic and an old Ever-Ready. So if you want to get either of those, I mean, if you're not set on having a vintage shave brush and buy someone else's used Ever-Ready brush, I would maybe point you towards the clone here, which is made by, it's made for fine, made in China actually. But yeah, design-wise and look-wise, if they sit next to each other on the shelf, I think very comparable. And then with a fine brush, you get a synthetic, which they call the angel hair. And with this one here, you get an old stinky boar, which some people like. They like this little harsher, prickly feel. We'll work with this a little bit. I will use it a little bit and see if the stink goes away and go from there. Alrighty guys, that should be it for today. I thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I appreciate all your comments. If you like, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next one. Bye.